Hello everyone, it's me, Aaron, Professor Thorgy.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is another one of our Q&As. We did one of these for Batman vs. Superman. It was really popular. You guys seemed to like it. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm talking really fast and I'll explain why. Because the Batman vs. Superman Q&A was really, really long. And I can't keep making hour-and-a-half long videos, no matter how much I want to. So, for our Q&A today, which is all about Civil War and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I am going to try and go through this as quickly as I can, but still be thorough. I'm not just going to be talking incredibly fast the entire time. I'm not going to be like summing everything up. I'm going to still try and cover as many questions as I can, but I can tell you right now, I'm not going to get at everybody's question. Last time I got to everybody's question. This time, it's not going to happen, sadly. So we're going to have to go quickly, and I'm trying to train myself to make shorter videos. And so what we did today is I have set an unofficial timer. We just ordered food from a place that takes roughly 45 minutes to get here. We're going to answer as many of these as we can in 45 minutes or whenever the food arrives. When you hear that door buzzer ring, that's it, time's up.
I think it's more like my phone, because usually they call in and let us know that they're at the front door.
That was totally unimportant information, Michelle, and you just wasted time, thanks.
Oh, I wasted 30 seconds.
Well, now you've wasted 10. Alright, well, I'm mad now. Let's just make this the entire video. Okay, wasting time. Okay, so yes, you guys could submit questions in the Q&A video that I made for Civil War, or you could submit them on my Twitter account or my Tumblr account, both of which are simply Professor Thorgy. So I am, as always, going to start with the Twitter and Tumblr questions. I already saw some of these, and they are indeed going to be something that I'm going to have to fight the urge to go into really long answers on. So let's get through this as quickly as possible. But at the same time, still being thorough and providing everybody respect to answer their questions as in-depth as I can. Okay, we're going to start on Twitter. First one comes from Professor Geek at Michael Kritzer. Do you think we'll ever see Beta Ray Bill in the MCU? Would you like to? I have no idea, because the next Thor film is going to be the last Thor film, and Beta Ray Bill is a Thor-themed character. He could also fit in with Guardians of the Galaxy because he is an alien. In fact, there are many people who are saying that because there was a man-horse skeleton on like a cross on that planet that Star-Lord arrived on at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, people were saying that that was a joke about Beta Ray Bill and saying like, yeah, that was him. It's one of those things that, yeah, sure, I'd like to see it, but it's one of those things in which when you realize that Marvel can only make 2 tops 3 movies a year, and they have such a big universe, it's one of those things that'd be way down the line before we see a Beta Ray Bill film. A Beta Ray Bill build? Whatever. I don't even know what I said. Okay, next up, Steven at Karate Kid 192000. What did you think of the new characters, i.e. Spider-Man and Black Panther, and Giant Man, because he was funny too? I answered all that in the review. I think that Spider-Man, he had no reason to be in the movie, but that was the movie critic side of my brain. Less than a minute into when he started talking, I was like, oh my god, that's the best Spider-Man ever. I don't care, he's perfect in this movie. Black Panther, that dude went through an entire character arc in that film, and you saw every single side of his character, and it wasn't even his movie. That was amazing to me that they were able to pull that off. That, in fact, time. Cool. That's how long I got into this thing before I started making comparisons to Batman vs. Superman. Everybody talked about how great Wonder Woman was in Batman vs. Superman. It's like, yeah, she definitely stole the show, but when I saw Black Panther, I was like, oh my god, here's another character who is making their cinematic debut, and it's not their film, and they're from a faraway mythical kingdom. He is so much better than Wonder Woman was. Wonder Woman didn't do jack shit in that film, except for just show up at the end and go, yeah, and just stab Doomsday a couple times. This dude was a character, had a world, did not clutter up the movie at all by being there. In fact, added to the film. I was like, god damn it, Marvel. You are so good at this. Like, I know that you loved Wonder Woman. I'm not going to ask you to make comparisons. But what do you think of Black Panther in this film?
Definitely a more fleshed out character.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to the Black Panther movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Especially after seeing the cast.
God, I don't know if anybody asked me a question about that, so I'm not going to go into the cast right now. But yeah, and Giant Man, Giant Man was spoiled for me in a pop figure, like a Funko Pop. they went ahead and on like the back of all the Civil War pops, it just said Giant Man, 6-inch tall figure. I was like, why did you spoil it first? Didn't matter. When it happened in the movie, it was like, this is still amazing. I did lose some of the surprise. I did lose some of that enjoyment that I would have gotten from, oh my god, it's happening. But yeah, it was still awesome. I loved it. So yeah, Giant Man was great. I really do wonder if in the next Ant-Man film we're going to see that pop back up. Next one from JRE Best. At JRE Best. Who's an LGBT hero you would like to join the MCU, and 3 obscure heroes you'd like to see join the Avengers? Oh, snap. I read this earlier on Twitter, and I thought you said 3 obscure heroes you'd like to see join the MCU, and I thought you said 3 obscure heroes you'd like to see join the MCU. I was like, a chance to talk about New Warriors. Yeah! But
no, you got it reversed.
yeah, it's for who would I like to see join the Avengers. Oh shoot, then in that case, I'm gonna have to think about that answer. Let's start with the first one then. An LGBT hero I would like to see join the MCU. There's a lot of great LGBT characters from the Marvel Universe, but I've stopped and thought about like which one we could actually get in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's like, okay, Wiccan and Hulkling are the ones I always hear people bringing up, but it's like, Wiccan is the son of Scarlet Witch, and Hulkling is the son of the original Captain Marvel. Scarlet Witch is like 20 right now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Captain Marvel has yet to make his appearance. He's going to appear in the next Guardians film, though. But so to get those 2 guys, we'd still have to wait like another 20 years for them to come around. So those are the 2 that like I hear people constantly bringing up. But myself personally, I would love to see a Runaways TV series. Which you've actually read one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that would be amazing on the ABC Family Channel, which is no longer called that. It's called something else. But they said that they're going to make a Cloak and Dagger series on there, which is awesome. And if you read Runaways, you know that Cloak and Dagger actually played a part in Runaways. So it's like, all right, they're laying the groundwork. Give Cloak and Dagger like 2-3 seasons if that works. Runaways, you know, is right there. And Lucy in the Sky is actually LGBT. So she would be great in there. But she would still be like on a TV show in like a small, like, you know, she would be like 1/6 of the cast. If we're talking like somebody who would actually be a big character in a movie, I would love to see Moondragon and Phyla-Vell join the Guardians of the Galaxy. They were some of my favorite members of the Guardians of the Galaxy from the Abnett and Landing run, which I mention every time I bring that up, is the best run on Guardians of the Galaxy. Fuck the Brian Michael Bendis run on that. No, the Bendis one. Bendis run is okay. It's okay. It's just not as good as the Abnett and Landing one. I'm sorry, I'm mad because today at work I just read Civil War number 0. Spoiler alert, since it's going to be coming out tomorrow, I think, when I post this. It's not good. Okay, so anyway, so I'm a little mad Bendis right now. A little mad Bendis. But anyway, yeah, Moondragon, she was the daughter of Drax the Destroyer, who they would have to change that for the movie. Because Drax was nothing like he was in the comics. He was Drax in name only. But yeah, she was his daughter. She had like immense psychic powers, but she was also connected to like this cosmic dragon that was the embodiment of like darkness in space. And I was like, God, that's cool. And Phyla-Vell was the daughter of the original Captain Marvel. And I know that I just said it's like, oh, it would be multiple years before he can get like Captain Hulkling because he's the son of Captain Marvel. It's like, yeah, but that's because he's the son after Captain Marvel came like to Earth and dropped him off there. Phyla-Vell has always been out in space, and we know that Kurt Russell is going to be playing Captain Marvel. He's old enough to have a daughter around Phyla-Vell's age, so you could put them in there. Those 2, they were a lesbian couple, and they were awesome in that book. In fact, James Gunn, the guy who directed and helped to write the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and is doing the same for the second one, someone met him at Con, and they were cosplaying as Moondragon and Phyla-Vell. And he said, I love those characters. They are amazing characters. And they were like, are they ever going to be in the movie? And he said, Disney doesn't want me to put them in the film. And granted, this could all be just a fake story. This is what this person from the convention said. They said that they had this run-in, and this is what he said, but he said, Disney does not want me to put them in the movie. However, this made news about 6 months ago that the guy at the top the guy like above Kevin Feige. Everybody always says Kevin Feige runs the Marvel Universe. Kevin Feige is the guy who works with all the creators to come up with this shared universe. There's a guy he has to report to above him who approves or disapproves everything. So that'd be the guy who actually says, yes, we will put these two characters in there. No, we will not put those two characters in there. That dude got fired. That dude got fired, and typically whenever somebody that you work with is fired, especially in the entertainment business, there is always a period afterwards, like, you know, like a month or something, which is like, oh yeah, well, you know, we can't really say anything. Like the second that dude was fired, everybody who was working under him came out and said, yeah, fuck that dude. That dude sucks. That dude didn't let us do any of the stuff that we want to do. So I believe there's hope now. I believe it is possible that we could start to see stuff like this happening. Because, like I said, the guy who was saying no is now gone, and the guy who replaced him is the guy who approved everything on the Star Wars films. You know, the people who brought us Rey and Finn and Poe. That's the guy who is now in charge of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The guy who is approving everything that Kevin Feige submits to them. So I do think that there is a chance that this kind of change could happen, that we could see this come around. What the hell was your other question? Oh yeah, 3 obscure heroes I want to see join the Avengers. By the way, I'm answering all these right now. Do you have any answers to any of these?
I'm not as knowledgeable in comics as you are.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many LGBT Marvel characters you could name. Oh, by the way, actually, the real answer, I just thought of it. Iceman. Iceman is the #1 LGBT character I want to see join the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that means we would get the X-Men in there. Ain't gonna fucking happen, but it's nice to dream. Okay, 3 obscure heroes I want to see join the Avengers. Oh, I had not even thought of this. Fudge. Okay. You know the sad thing is, I always used to have a list in my head of like, yeah, I'd like to see this character in the Avengers. And they've all pretty much joined the Avengers. Squirrel Girl is an Avenger at this point. In fact, there's a big problem going on in Marvel Comics right now that like no one knows who is or is not an Avenger. Because there's like 3 different teams. One of them is being led by Steve Rogers, but they have no funding because they're not working with Tony Stark, and Tony Stark is leading this other team. And it's like, okay, well, like, why are the dads fighting? Who is the real Avenger? This has been going on for like a decade in the comics, and I had this talk with someone I work with recently that if you asked me to sit down and like actually map out a chart of like who is and is not an Avenger, I don't know if I could do it because I don't know which team actually counts anymore. Like some people say the Young Avengers count, but then you'll read a comic in which they go, yeah, you weren't actually Avengers, but except for those 2 guys, they were Avengers because they were made honorary Avengers. So it's like, I don't even know who is an Avenger at this point. Shit. This is really hard because I'm like going, okay, this character, no, they were an Avenger. This character, no, they were an Avenger. Crap. It's easier to think of who I don't want to ever be an Avenger. If the Punisher ever becomes an Avenger, I'm quitting comics at that point. It's like, when they made Deadpool an Avenger, that was real hard for me to swallow that one, but I let it pass. Human Torch for the longest time was like my #1 guy. It's like, yeah, how is he not an Avenger? And now he's an Avenger. Jesus Christ. God damn, like, I'm seriously like, Shang-Chi. I love Shang-Chi. No, he was one. Fudge.
Well,
wait, no, you know what? Iceman. Same answer. He has never been one, and he's like an elemental god at this point. Yes, he should absolutely be one, so that's 1. No, he's not obscure. Damn it. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, now I'm scoring. Okay.
how about we make this easier for you? How about an obscure hero you like to see join the movie Avengers? Not the comics.
Oh,
that's what I mean. Would that be easier for you?
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Because I got no fucking answer. I really don't, because like I said, for the longest time, I had like my list of like obscure characters that want to join the Avengers, and they're all on there now. Squirrel Girl, she joined them. Dr. Voodoo is an Avenger, which Dr. Voodoo is awesome. He should be one, but it's like, that was an obscure ass character. Okay, sure. So join the movie ones. That's another problem. It's like, what counts as an obscure character? To me, obscure character will be anybody who has not had their own solo book in the last decade. Let's go with that. So I'm going to go with Spectrum. Absolutely love Spectrum. She's one of the biggest powerhouses in the Marvel Universe, and I'm glad that she's on the Ultimates now, and Al Ewing actually recognizes how awesome she is. Al Ewing is a champion of that character, so God bless him. So Spectrum, that's number 1. Actually, I would dig seeing Shang-Chi join the Avengers. Yeah, sure. And I have a sneaking suspicion he'll probably pop up somewhere in the Iron Fist TV series, so that'd be cool. So let's go Shang-Chi, especially if they captured him right, and actually did have him do the insanely cool martial arts that he is capable of. No, he'd be too young, because we just got introduced to his mom in the cinematic universe. I was going to say Amadeus Cho, because Mark Ruffalo can't be the Hulk forever, so I would be fine with Amadeus Cho coming in, but we, like, just met his mom in the last Avengers film, so I was like, yeah, it's too soon. Another obscure one that Marvel owns. That's the other problem. I figure we're, like, multiple years out from some of these characters. Like, because that's the other thing, like, who would actually make sense to introduce now? I will go with... I thought I would have an answer if I just started the sentence. Who's some obscure characters I love that could actually pop up? Actually, I was going to say Dr. Voodoo, because he could pop up in the Doctor Strange movie. But I know there's a better answer. I know there's a better answer than him.
Do you want to get back to that later?
Yeah, okay, let's keep moving along, and I promise you I will have my third one then. Alright. Danny, at That Magical Lady. What did you and Michelle feel was the best line in Civil War? And what MCU movies are you both looking forward to? I'll let you start, because I've been talking for a long time.
What line? Oh, geez, I don't even...
There were so many good ones.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Honestly, it's weird. There's so many great ones, but the one that keeps sticking with me the most wasn't even from, like, a named character. It was move, or you will be moved. It was, like, from, like, T'Challa's personal bodyguard. When he was talking to Natasha, it was like the entire audience just, damn, at that line. Everything that Ant-Man said, honestly, everything that Ant-Man said was amazing. I don't know why, but the one that I laughed at the most, just like thinking back on it, was when he met Captain America and just turned around to Scarlet Witch and went, I know you, you're good too, you're great. That one keeps making me laugh whenever I think back to it.
I think, there was, one that stood out, was, when Hawkeye shot the arrow at Black Panther, and he's like, oh, I don't think we met. I'm Hawkeye. And he's like, I don't care. So
I don't care. That actually is a great one. That is a great one because, I said it before, this is the best Hawkeye we have ever gotten. This is the Hawkeye from the comics. And it's the Hawkeye that I love, not the Matt Fraction can't keep his pants up Hawkeye. It's the Hawkeye I love. Another thing that you don't get what I'm referencing. But, that was an absolutely great one because that is Clint, the one who's like, yeah, hey man, what's going on? He is ready to just pal around in the middle of a fight. A fight to save his life. He's just like, I'm cool, I'm chill. That's him. And then Black Panther, he's so dedicated on killing the Winter Soldier that he's just he's not angry at Clint. He's not like, I don't care. He's just like, I don't care. Just very simple and calculated, just nope, going to kill him.
Out of my way.
Honestly, every line out of Clint Barton's mouth, every line that Hawkeye gave, and my personal favorite is, I retire and the world goes to shit, is that's
pretty
Clint.
much.
That is Clint. That was the line that made me go, that's Clint Barton. The guy who's I know I'm running this team. I know that I'm the glue holding you all together. You guys fall apart without me. It's that's Clint. That's why I love him. So that's probably my favorite. I retire and the world goes to shit. And what MCU movies are you both looking forward to? The only ones that I'm nervous about Thor, because to me, I really like the first Thor film. I know that that's people are split on that one. I know there's a lot of people who dislike, but I actually do really like the first Thor film. The second one, I think, is passable, but that to me is the worst Marvel film. It's the worst Marvel film, although I still stand by Marvel has not made a bad film yet. They've just made some movies. And that to me was the most meh of them. So I'm like, oh, geez. What makes me think that the third one is going to be the one that they really pull it out on? And also, I'm a little bit nervous about Doctor Strange. I know that I shouldn't be, but because it's being written by C. Robert Cargill, who actually was a critic for Spill.com, a website that I followed for years before they got shut down. And those were my favorite critics. You can still see two of those guys on doubletoasted.com. But C. Robert Cargill, he was one of the critics there. And he was always known as being the critic with a really weird taste. But he was really articulate about why he had weird tastes. So I was like, well, I disagree with you, but you're kind of convincing me. Like, he was actually really good at doing that. But I listened to those guys for years. And when you listen to someone on the internet for years, it's weird, but you kind of get to feel like you know them. So when I heard that he was going to be writing Doctor Strange, I was like, this guy is actually really kind of perfect for it. He actually has written a magical-based novel series out there that I haven't read, but I hear it's really good. And I feel, like I said, you know a guy for so many years online, you feel almost like you know him. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, hey, way to go, man. Way to go in there. But that film has been just like plagued by so much, I don't even want to say bad press, but just so much bad reactions. And I can't blame people for the negative reactions. I fully understand everyone's negative reactions to it. In fact, I was just talking about C. Robert Cargill. That dude also recently came out and explained why Marvel whitewashed The Ancient One. And as I was listening to him, I was like, oh god, no, stop talking now. And yeah, sure enough, it's like he said some stupid stuff. And I feel like with all the negative reactions that film has had, and like I said, I fully understand them all, and I'm not going to say anybody's wrong. You definitely have valid points about your reactions to this film. I feel like that film has to be perfect. That film has to be a 9 out of 10 at best in order to make people walk away like, all right, you know what, it was okay. So I'm kind of nervous about that. And I know you asked me which ones are you excited about, and I'm listing the ones I'm nervous about. The reason why I'm doing that is because all the other ones, Black Panther is number 1 on that list. I made a video in which I talked about the top 10 villains that could be in Black Panther, and I'm psyched to see any of those guys pop up. Let me see, Captain Marvel. We don't know anything about Captain Marvel, but it's Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is fantastic. I can't wait to see her on screen. Ant-Man and Wasp. I love the fact that the sequel to Ant-Man is not Ant-Man 2, it's Ant-Man and Wasp. Like, because I love the Wasp, she's a great character, and I know that the Wasp in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not Janet Van Dyne. And I love Janet Van Dyne, she's the main reason I love the Wasp. However, I also love the fact that come, you know, Halloween 2019, or whenever all this is going to end up coming out, there's going to be little girls running around as not just Captain Marvel, but the Wasp as well. There will be little girls in those audiences going, the Wasp is my favorite superhero. Awesome. Like, nothing wrong with Black Widow, but I kind of hate that the #1 female superhero for young girls at the moment is a deadly Russian assassin. I'm like, no, give them something better. And we got Wonder Woman, that was in a movie that I would not recommend to kids. I want to see the Wasp. And so many people said that Ant-Man, it was like one of those old Disney family films. It was like if they took one of those old Disney family films and made it into a heist film. It's like, that's a perfect way of describing that. Ant-Man to me is the best film to actually take your kids to out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, just thinking about the fact that it's like Wasp is going to be there on the title card. Big up there on the poster, and there will be little girls finally going to the audience to a superhero film that is perfectly okay for kids that age to go and see, and they're going to be going, the Wasp is fantastic. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I want to see Groot and Rocket and Star-Lord and everyone back in action, having a fun time and everything.
What do you think about the fact that I know that you know the current Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers?
Yeah.
But before that, there was a Captain Marvel who was part of the Kree, and he died and passed and well, he didn't pass his powers on to her, but he ended up dying in the comics. And the current Captain Marvel, she got powers through something that he did. So basically, they're going to set him up in the new Guardians of the Galaxy film. And they're setting him up in there so that way it's like, and then he comes to Earth and gives Carol her powers, and then she's the Captain Marvel that stars in the movie. Which, it's so freaking stunning to me how far in advance Marvel planned some of this stuff out. But they have also said, mild spoiler alert for anybody who's been avoiding all the news, but they have said that Captain Marvel, the original one, will be Star-Lord's dad. How do you feel about that?
That's kind of weird.
In all fairness, though, the rumor was that it was going to be blackballed. I'm glad it's not blackballed. Do not make Star-Lord an Inhuman. Stop shoving those guys down our throat. So I'm kind of cool with it. But the main reason I'm cool with it is because Kurt Russell is playing Captain Marvel. Kurt Russell should play Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell should play Chris Pratt's dad. Kurt Russell should play Chris Pratt's dad in every movie. Like, the moment I heard that, I was like, oh my god! You nailed it in one! That's exactly his dad.
Yeah, exactly, which is why I'm excited to look forward to that, but it's like, him as Captain Marvel? Okay, whatever.
Well, that's going to be a very different Captain Marvel. Like,
Yeah.
the moment I heard that, I was like, he's going to be like some, like, space drunk. And I'm like, this is not going to be like an accurate representation of Captain Marvel in the comics. But let's be honest, when you go to the Captain Marvel movie, you go in there for Carol Danvers. As long as they get her right, I'm cool with them doing whatever they want with it. Because in all honesty, the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, it's an accurate representation of the Guardians that came after it. Like, if you went to the comic shop and just picked up a Guardians of the Galaxy comic, it would be like, oh, yeah, this is exactly like the movie. Before that movie came out, not at all like it. Not even close. But that movie was damn good, so I don't give a crap. Make a good movie, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that took longer than I thought. So, I got 2 questions on Tumblr. We're going to do those, and we're going to YouTube. Okay, first one. These are both from Anonymous, by the way. So, Stark was given 36 hours time limit. How stupid was it for him to travel across the Atlantic on a hunch to pick up a kid who may or may not have been Spider-Man, make a new suit for him, plus sort out the passport? I don't think he actually did that. I think he just kidnapped the kid and took him over there. And fly back to Europe on the off chance that the kid might be useful. In the same vein, how did Hawkeye travel across the Atlantic in a van? I am utterly confused about locations despite giant letters, spending most time wondering how they teleported from place to place. Valid argument. Hey, as I said, Spider-Man had no damn business being in here. That was clearly just shoved in there. I still love Spider-Man, so I didn't care. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it made no sense for him to go and get that. I'm not disputing that. Hawkeye traveling across in a van, he didn't do that. They took him on a plane, and then he got a van when he got to Europe. That one's not... He didn't go in a van. Yeah, they actually took a jet on that.
I'm just
one.
like imagining like comic book Hawkeye just like driving the van into the ocean, just...
Just like just with sunglasses on, and also with like the pot of coffee. Just I'm great at boats. Car. Okay, I might have actually liked the Matt Fraction Hawkeye. I absolutely loved it in the first 2 trades. The first 2 trades are amazing. After that, Hawkeye just became a pathetic like joke. But those first 2 trades, goddamn, I love that Hawkeye. And I would have laughed seeing that Hawkeye drive a van into the river. Okay, that one was easy enough. Next one. While it was an awesome movie overall, I cannot help but continue to groan at the treatment of female characters. This is actually something you brought up in our post-Geek Out reaction. It was better than some, cough, Iron Man and Thor, cough. I would also throw in cough, Batman versus Superman. But their insistence on force-feeding romance down our throats makes me want to bang my head. Also, while it might pass the Bechdel test, but only if you squint, overall female-to-male ratio is despisingly low, but I'll ignore that. Given current and announced rosters, how can they make it better in the future? Okay, I'm going to let you talk on a lot more of this because this has to do with female representation. But I will just say about the last part there, about how can they make this better in the future. The way that they can make it better in the future is by firing that dude who would not let them put more female characters in these movies, which they did, and now the guy who was like working on the Star Wars films, who gave us Rey, and whoever is the star of Rogue One, I forgot her name, but the guy who gave us those, he's the one now in charge of this. And if you'll notice, as soon as he came in, he said that I'm trying to talk really fast. If you'll notice, the moment that he got assigned to that, like maybe a month later, Marvel announced that Ant-Man would be getting a sequel, and the sequel would be titled Ant-Man and Wasp. So I was like, okay, it's rare you can instantly point at something and see like the cause and effect. Also, they announced that in Thor 3, Natalie Portman's not there anymore, and Thor will have a new love interest. And they did say that she will be not only a woman of color, she's also going to be a superhero who will appear in future Marvel films. So it's like, I can instantly see things starting to get better here.
Yes.
Sadly, Marvel plans their films out like 10 years in advance, so it will be a while before his effect starts to kick in. But by the time that the Ant-Man and Wasp film comes in, that's like the first one that he's actually like working with them on. By that point, and also Thor, actually, shoot. Now that I think about it, Doctor Strange is like the only film that they have already planned out that they made under that last guy. So I do have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to start seeing a change pretty soon. But let's see, what do you feel about this? Because you were talking about this in our review, that you feel like Black Widow finally had more to do in here, and you did say that you want to see more women. So how do you feel about like the treatment of women in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It's better than the treatment of women in the DC universe.
Well, we can't. I know that I shoved that in there. It's like, yeah, because like I said, Wonder Woman, she kicked a lot of ass, but Lois Lane was god awful in that film. But we can't just keep going. Well, we're
I know.
We're better than DC.
I'm saying that is like I can see improvement, just like you. Oh
shit.
No, that's just the message now.
Okay. We still have time, folks.
Still have time. It's not done yet. But yeah, like you said, I definitely see a turning point. Like, I see like the women are like getting like more respect. Like, when like the movies first started out, it's like obviously they were only meant for like love interests, but now there was like starting to like get more involved in the plot and everything. So. Yeah,
and which I will say this. Because you bring up that the love interest was forced in here, and I said that in our review. I did say that one of my problems with this is that Sharon Carter's love interest there, it was just shoved in there. Mm-hmm. Although I don't really feel like that was so much a, hey, we have to have a love interest, we have to turn the female character into a love interest. I feel that was more of a, they're a love interest in the comic, we kind of have to make this happen.
Yeah,
I don't really feel like that one was quite so much, hello, motorcycle. I don't feel like that one was quite so much a, we have to do this because of the love interest thing.
Yeah, at first like the women were just like love interests. Now they're like saying, oh, they're introduced as a love interest, but they're gonna have more involvement in the movie. So like the next step would be have a female character and have her involved in the movie and not just have her as a love interest. Yeah. So that's basically the evolution I'm seeing in this.
Yeah, and also, I'll just say that, speaking of it getting better, the dude who was at the top, and I wish I could remember his name, because right now I'm making him sound like Dr. Claw, like just some random mysterious dude you never see his face. Like, but in all honesty, it's like, yeah, he was not a guy that got publicized. He wasn't Kevin Feige constantly getting out there and talking about this stuff. He was the guy who's like, no, yes, no, yes. That dude was not connected to their television universe. He was only connected to the movies. The television universe, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., when that show started, it had like a 50-50 split on male and female. We also got Agent Carter on TV. We got Jessica Jones on Netflix. It is one of those things in which is like, the reason why their television universe is so, like, I do not want to keep pointing at that guy and going like, he's the one who was always wrong, because I'm sure Kevin Feige has fucked some things up. I'm positive he has. I'm sure that a lot of the writers have screwed things up. I'm sure a lot of the directors have screwed things up. But it is rare that you can actually go as like, well, okay, Kevin Feige also worked on the TV ones. How come they're so different? And now how come things are changing so much now that this guy is gone and a new guy's in there? It's like, I do think that now that he's gone, there is a lot of evidence that you can point to go, like, things are about to get better. Mm-hmm. We're all cool. Not to mention, Kevin Feige also came, like, after he joined on, like, at the same time, like a month after he joined on, they announced, oh, and we also added 2 unannounced Marvel films to our roster. Like, they just added that in there out of nowhere, like, as soon as this guy joined on. And over the weekend, Kevin Feige was in an interview, and he kind of let it slip. It's like, yeah, we are talking about Black Widow films. Like, not talking in, as in, like, yeah, it came up. It's like, he said, we're committed to making one. He didn't say a date or anything like that, but he basically did say, it's happening. So it's like, okay, wheels are in motion. Honestly, it's like, it is one of those things in which it just looks better to me. It looks like things are finally happening. And it sucks to come in here and say that it took 10 years for it to finally get better. That's garbage. There's no excuse for that. However, it's happening. It is like, I do feel good about the future. So I'm not gonna come in here and like look at it and go, this is going to suck forever, when I can actually look at it and goes like, okay, I can see the wheels of progress finally starting to kick in. But yeah, as far as also making it better, honestly, there's only one answer: just give more women roles and just put more women on the team. It's like, how would I make it better? It's like, I already said, Spectrum. Add Spectrum to the team. Add, God, there's so many good female characters that you could add right now. Add Mantis to the Guardians of the Galaxy. Add Phyla and Moondragon to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Do you think they're gonna add, like, after Captain Marvel, you think they're gonna add Miss Marvel?
Honestly, so many people have been like, why don't we have a Miss Marvel TV series yet? It's like, because you have to have Captain Marvel come
Yeah,
first.
exactly.
That would be like having a Spider-Man film in which Uncle Ben not only wasn't mentioned, but never existed. So yeah, you do have to have Captain Marvel come first. I guarantee you we're getting a Miss Marvel TV series. Not movie, but in all honesty, I don't want a Miss Marvel movie. I want a Miss Marvel TV series on ABC Family that kids can watch every single week. That's what I want to see. Plus, it's the story of her, like, learning and discovering herself. That works way better over the course of 26 episodes than an hour and a half. So yeah, it's like, there's definitely a Miss Marvel TV series coming. So yeah, basically, yeah, the answer is simple. Just add more women, and I can already see that it is slowly happening. Could be coming faster, but there was already a ton of stuff already planned out before this change started. So yeah, cool. That's it for the Tumblr ones. Finally, we can get into the YouTube ones. Okay, we gotta make this quick, because, God, I'm sorry, guys, we took way too long. Okay, I'm sorry to everybody on YouTube. This is rapid fire time. Do you think the letter Cap sent to Tony at the end was necessary? Wasn't it a little forced just to make things going not too bad between them? I don't think that it was forced, because you have to remember these films do lead into each other, and when you see that he had a phone that Cap sent him and said, anytime you need us, give us a call, I guarantee you the end of Avengers Infinity Part 1 is going to be Tony. The team is defeated. He's sitting there like, I don't know what to do, and then he looks over at the phone and he reaches out and grabs it. Yeah, they need to put something in there. Plus, they kind of did need to give us hope. You can't just end the film with, and now it's all destroyed forever. You need that little flicker of hope to help people walk out of the theater excited. And when people walk out of the theater excited, they're gonna come back to it. If they walk out of it like, oh wow, I can't believe that just happened, less likely have a chance that they're going to come back. You leave them excited, they're coming back. So yeah, I think it was perfectly fine. In regards to how Marvel revealed this brand new Spider-Man into the MCU, starting with Captain America Civil War, what are your thoughts on how the upcoming Spider-Man Homecoming movie is going to perform next year? Do you believe it will be the next Sam Raimi Amazing Spider-Man 2, or could it just be another Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 scenario? What are your thoughts? Thanks for the great video. I want to say I have hopes. I do, because yeah, there are people who work on all these films together to help make sure that they all have a similar tone, who help approve all this stuff. However, the people who are writing this also wrote the Vacation film that came out last year, and if you watch my 10 worst movies of 2015, it was on there, and kinda high. I hated that movie. However, maybe they're suited for this. Maybe they were just like, yeah, we don't know how to write like a gross out R-rated comedy. Spider-Man, we can write Spider-Man. This is very different from that. So I do have those concerns that they hired those guys. I don't know why you would do that when you finally get Spider-Man back. It's like, when you get like your top dude on that? So yeah, I don't know about that. But I am hopeful, because I don't think Marvel is going to risk screwing up Spider-Man. They finally got him back. I think it's okay. I'm nervous though. I do like the casting though. Like, they've announced several of his schoolmates, and I'm like, that looks good, that's awesome, alright, yes. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Let's see, do you think Tony Stark and Aunt May should hook up in the MCU? Someone replied under that, no, just no. No, it should not happen. But I would laugh hysterically if it did. How would you have done Civil War? I realize the movie was really good and doesn't have much left out, but would you have made Spider-Man more necessary? Yes, okay. This movie's great. I don't have like a lot of suggestions to it, but one thing I would suggest, I brought up in my review, is that I don't really feel like the Sokovia Accord really affected anyone outside of the Avengers. And that was one of my problems, that I was like, okay, well then why don't you guys just quit the Avengers and go off and do your own thing? And someone told me in the comments like, well, if they quit the Avengers, then they would be arrested. I was like, okay. I don't quite remember that, but it could have been in there. And that also would explain why they had to have this battle. But yeah, I would have made it so that this was a little bit more like the comics where, hey man, if you have superpowers, you have to register. I wouldn't have made it so like overbearing, like, and we're coming to get you and put you in jail. I wouldn't have made it quite like that. I would have made it more of like, that's it. Hi there, everyone. We sure had a lot of fun on today's episode. But I made a promise. As soon as that food arrived, I would have to end the episode because I am trying to train myself to record shorter shows. And I failed. And there is no reason why you guys should be punished for that. So you know what? We're going long! Screw it, we'll do it live! Okay, continuing the question that we just had. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, how would you have done Civil War? I already read the question to you guys, blah 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 blah. Okay. By the way, I apologize that I haven't been reading the names of anybody on YouTube. I forgot to do that. Too late now. Okay.
We can just like add it in post. Just have the titles down there.
I'm going to, yeah, don't worry. They already know I'm going to because they've been watching it this entire time. But yes, okay. Honestly, yeah, I think that they handled it really well. I know I made like a Thorgy's Theory video in which I said, oh, I think Captain Marvel might appear in this, or I think the Thunderbolts could be in this. I'm glad that they weren't because this movie like felt like it had the perfect amount of stuff. I don't feel like it needed anything else in there as far as like characters and such. But I will say the one thing that I would have done differently is that the Sokovia Accord, I feel like it felt odd to me that it really only affected the Avengers. And someone told me in the comments down below that if they didn't sign, then they were going to go to jail. So it's like, okay, there are some stakes. However, I felt like this should have been like at least something more publicized. Like it should have been something that the rest of the world knew about, and I never really got a feeling of how the rest of the world felt about this. I kept saying from like day one, the scene that I wanted in this movie was I wanted a scene where they were talking about this on the news, and then you just saw Luke Cage watching it from his bar on the TV screen, and then you saw Daredevil in his office listening to it on the radio, and then you saw like Patsy Walker talking about it on her radio show, and then you saw Jessica Jones standing outside the glass listening in on it. So, you know, just something to give us that sense of like there's the rest of the world and like how they're reacting to the idea of these superheroes having to now work for the government. And that would have been a way to way more naturally fit Spider-Man in there. You could have then had him like looking at it as like, oh man, what happens if they come for me? Should I really be doing this? Then you get like one shot of him like going out there saving some people, and you know, you maybe get like somebody with like a camera phone asking him, hey Spider-Man, what do you think of the Sokovia Accord? And he's like, geez, and then he like says something, and then you see Tony Stark looking at that and like watching that online, and that's how he becomes aware of the Spider-Man guy. He's like, you know what? There are other heroes out there aside from just the Avengers, and we need to go and let them know that what we're doing is important, and that could be the reason why he would go and talk to Spider-Man. I'm sure there's probably something much better than that, but that's just the idea that I came up with. Was there anything in the film that you probably would have changed? That you would have done differently?
Smaller subtitles for when they change locations.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird, yeah. Okay, next one. Do you think Marvel and DC letting pro-DC/Marvel YouTubers seeing their movies early is a conflict of interest? Is that something they're already doing? Well, I guess like the critic YouTubers, like the professional critics, not like me, the guy's just starting off, but like professional critic YouTubers. Honestly, it's a weird thing because everybody has a conflict of interest. You might try and say it's like, no, I'm not biased in any way, shape, or form. And for a lot of things, you probably aren't. But there will always be that one thing that you're probably going to be biased on. So it would be hard for me to say, don't let them see that one thing that they love if they have already established themselves as like a diehard critic. Like if you are just a flat out Marvel fan and you just do nothing but make videos about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how much you love it, Yeah, I can see that. But if you are a critic who does go out there and you review everything out there, but you have established that you have a history of liking the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, no, you're a professional critic at that point. And just because you have a history of liking these films, that shouldn't mean like, well, we can't let you see this because then that's conflict of interest. No, you can let those guys see it. But you know, like a guy like me who has made tons of videos about like, oh god, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I love it so much. If they came to me like some small time guy and just went, hey, we want you to go and see it because we know you're gonna give it a good review, I'd do it, but I won't lie, that'd be a weird thing for them to do. So yeah, it might be a conflict of interest, but not enough for me to say is like, nah, don't let them do that. It's like, if you have established yourself as a critic, just because you have shown a personal bias doesn't mean that you should be kept out of a movie. Because, let's be honest, whether they keep you out of it or not, you're going to have that bias when you eventually see it one way or another. Also, you know, you can never tell. You can let somebody in there who's like, he's liked all of our other films, and you go and see it's like, this movie sucked. So yeah. Do you think they will give Spider-Man CGI a touch-up once they release the movie on Blu-ray? Nah, it's pretty much done. It's as touched up as it's gonna be. Also, I think he will be the definitive Spider-Man. What about you? If his performances in the rest of the movies are as good as this one, yes. As I said to that previous answer, I'm a little bit nervous because the Vacation guys are writing this film. However, the half hour he was on screen was the best Spider-Man I have ever seen on screen. How do you think Civil War will affect Infinity Wars? And do you think Guardians of the Galaxy will join in Infinity Wars? Yeah, I would be shocked. Because, I mean, the Guardians are going to set up Thanos. They already have set up Thanos. Thanos is the big guy in Infinity Wars. They've already set up also the Infinity Gems in Guardians. I would be stunned if the Guardians didn't show up. That'd be crazy. Like, I could totally see, like, even, like, them arriving on Earth beforehand to go, like, hey, listen, there's this big guy named Thanos coming. So I could totally see that happening. In fact, in all honesty, I think Infinity War Part 2, I think you're gonna see everybody in that one. I would be shocked if they didn't even get, like, Hugh Jackman to show up there. Not as Wolverine, but just as, like, some guy fighting off, like, Thanos' hordes, like, in a bar somewhere, and, like, we'd all know it was Wolverine. They're not gonna do that, but it'd be cool. Let's see. I have enjoyed the videos that you have made. I find when you watch the movies multiple times, you see things that you miss that make it greater. My question is, do you think Black Panther was handled better here and more true to his character than, oh my god, you're kidding me. I did not read this ahead of time. Than with Wonder Woman and Batman vs. Superman. For me, she acted way too much like Catwoman. I have said that in numerous other videos. I have said numerous times she was Catwoman for the majority of that film, which makes me worry a bit for her future film, and I find funny to call her Wonder Cat. I like that.
We already answered this question,
totally already answered that. I just wanted to read the rest of that question, but yeah, we totally already answered that. Like, yeah, he was handled better. In fact, I'll honestly say this. I think the number one reason why people were freaking out about Wonder Woman in this film is because Batman and Superman were both so, like, just flat. And then she shows up and just starts kicking ass, and it's like, oh, thank God.
Finally, something happening.
But also because Wonder Woman is a character who people will have wanted to see in a movie for the longest goddamn time. It's never happened. And this was it. It was finally happening. And she showed up and just schooled both those guys. And it was like, here, let's kick some ass. Let's be superheroes. Giant clanging armbands that creates a boom tube and blows everything away. It's like, yeah, she was awesome in that moment. But before then, it's like, I don't know who this is. You're just some random lady. Like, I've said it numerous times. If you did not know that she was Wonder Woman, and you did not know that Wonder Woman was going to be in this movie, you would have thought that was Catwoman. You really would have. Because what did she do? She went to fancy dinner party, stole something from Bruce Wayne, then went to a museum and was eyeing valuable things, and then mentioned, like, I know that one is a fake. And it's like, oh, because you probably stole the real one? Oh, okay, well, Catwoman. Yeah, I got it. It's like, and then it's like, yeah, where's it with Black Panther? It's like, they could have gone a little bit more into the idea of the Black Panther mythos. Like, did you really get a feel? Because I know Black Panther. You are still fairly new to him, so the only real background we get on why he suddenly pops up in a cat suit is because he says, the Black Panther has guarded my people for many generations, now it falls on me. It's like, did that seem weird to you? Or as somebody who, like, doesn't know this character for, like, this prince to suddenly be like that?
It does feel a bit forced, but like I said before, like the Marvel universe, they usually introduce a character, then like have him develop more in the future, a movie and everything. So I was just kind of expecting that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing, like whenever people say like, oh, you're being nicer to the Marvel movies than to the DC ones, I think that's because Marvel has built it up to the point in which if you see something and you're like, they didn't really go into that much, you know in the back of your mind, we'll get into it in another film. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to get into it in this one. Whereas with other superhero films, we're like, we kind of need it in this one because we're judging you on this movie. We haven't like built up that establishment with you. We haven't built up that idea that, okay, stuff will be explained later because we know that happens in these films. Whereas with Wonder Woman, it's like, we know it's going to be explained later. We absolutely do know it's going to be explained later. And I think that's why people were so like, yeah, I don't care if she was total mystery character in this. But then when I saw Black Panther, I was kind of like, yeah, he was kind of mysterious, but we still knew who he was, why he was doing this, and he was also valuable to the plot. Like, I was talking to someone in my store, it's like, if you didn't know Wonder Woman was going to be in this movie, it's like, forget the Catwoman thing. Just all of a sudden, this lady you've been following this whole time, bam, she's Wonder Woman right there. It's like, that's kind of weird. So, okay, yeah, I definitely think it's happened there. Let's see. Do you think that the Winter Soldier is going to play a big part in the Black Panther movie now that he's frozen in Wakanda? I honestly think he's just going to get like a short little cameo in there. Like you're going to see T'Challa in like one of those big super science labs, and you'll see Bucky frozen there, and like everybody will go, "Oh my gosh, it's that!" And it's like
I just walk on by, just do.
And you'll see like Stan Lee like sweeping up like they're in the science lab, like he squirts like the Windex onto Bucky's like little chamber thing. That'll be Stan Lee cameo. Okay, yes, I don't think he's gonna be big. I think he'll have like a small cameo just to remind people Bucky's here. I don't think we're going to see Bucky until probably Infinity War Part 1. I think there'll probably be a moment in which Thanos is invading Wakanda. We see Black Panther and all of his people fighting him off. And then Black Panther probably gets knocked down in the science lab while like you see in the background like Bucky's like mind restoration 99% complete, 99.5% complete, and you'll see like Black Panther find somebody, and then all of a sudden Bucky will just come in and punch him off screen, and then he helps Black Panther up, and it's like, oh yeah, he's there. I think that's probably when he's going to pop up. I think he's going to be some big reveal like that. Let's see. It looks like the new trend is going to be putting other heroes in for guest shots in movies of other characters. We've had Falcon guest star in Ant-Man, Captain America 3 became a smorgasbord, and Iron Man is rumored in Spider-Man, and Hulk for Thor 3. There's read more. Should they continue this trend? Should another hero guest star in Doctor Strange? Should other heroes appear in Black Panther? Should Spider-Man feature all the Avengers or just stick to Iron Man? Should Hulk be the tip of the iceberg for Thor 3? Okay, a lot of questions there, but they're all good. Should this trend continue? Honestly, yes, because so many people are like, why don't we have this character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Why don't we have this one? It's like, well, because they have to take time to establish all these characters. But because we've now established these characters, you can feature other characters in their movie, and that is a really quick way to expand this universe, which I think is the thing that people want. They do want this to be a big universe. So yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that should continue as long as they keep doing it well. If they do it like Iron Man 2, where it was like, Black Widow for no reason, right here. It's like, yeah, no, that wasn't handled that well. But all the other ones that you just listed, I think were handled well. And Iron Man, I'd like to see him more as like a cameo, not as like a big part of Spider-Man. Should another hero guest star in Doctor Strange? Honestly, I don't know who could guest star. I mentioned Dr. Voodoo earlier. He's really the only one who I can be like, yeah, him. No! Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch has to learn magic. It's part of her, like, backstory. Heck yeah, put Scarlet Witch in there. That'd be great. Should other heroes appear in Black Panther? I honestly don't know who could appear in that one. I made a top 10 list of villains who could appear, but Wakanda is all by itself, like, way out there. I don't know who could really pop up. I mean, Captain America is a cameo, because he's there too, but, thank you, Car. Should Spider-Man feature all the Avengers or just stick with Iron Man? I think just stick with Iron Man at that point. Maybe Vision. I can see Spidey geeking out over Vision because he's a robot. That'd be awesome. But yeah, maybe just Iron Man. Maybe also Rhodey, just so we know how he's doing because he was left in kind of rough shape at the end of that. And should Hulk be the tip of the iceberg for Thor 3? Thor 3 is Ragnarok, which is the death of all the gods, the giant war that destroys all of Asgard. I'm cool with just Hulk, because I can picture Hulk being like Loki's like big plan, like Hulk being the big like, oh, okay, you have me here, I'm all beaten. Oh, by the way, I found your friend. Bam, and he just brings out the Hulk to like start beating Thor around. Not a Civil War question, but a Marvel question. What's your opinion on the whole situation about Marvel paying off critics to, oh Jesus. Okay. I've actually ranted about this in my store with my coworkers numerous times, so future me, as you're editing this, get the rant sound effect ready to go, because this might happen. What's your opinion on the whole situation about Marvel paying off critics to hate the DCEU? I personally think it's BS, and people are just trying to justify things they don't want to admit, and the fact that there's a petition going on right now to stop Marvel from quote-unquote paying off critics is seriously pissing me off. I'm gonna set this down. It's late here right now, so I'm not gonna yell. This is fucking stupid. This is goddamn stupid, and it was started by Grace Randolph, and I'm sorry. Grace, stop it. Fucking stop it. Grace Randolph is also the person who started the petition to get Deadpool to be PG-13. And she was also a writer for Marvel who got put on a book that was not a big name book. And she got put on the big name book, and she got put on this smaller book because she was a new writer, which is what they do with all their new writers. And she got fired from Marvel because she then said that the only reason she wasn't on a big name book was because she was a woman. And from there, she wanted to do the Deadpool petition, and now she's doing this. Stop it, Grace. For the love of God, stop it. This is stupid. I'm going to prove to you that this is not Marvel paying people off. DC had people go to their big premiere, and they wine and dine them just like Marvel does. Marvel doesn't have to pay critics off for this. They'd be wasting their money. But I will admit, Marvel will wine and dine the critics when they go to their premiere. You know why? Because everyone does. DC did their movies. Every single other studio does it when they have a big movie coming out. They wine and dine the critics because they want them to feel good. Here's the thing about that. Currently, on Rotten Tomatoes, Batman vs. Superman is around 28%. That's low. Before it was released, it was at 38%. Now, you can come in here and say that Marvel paid the big name critics to badmouth this movie. However, those big name critics still gave it 38%. After it was released, that's when it dropped down to 28%, because that's when the regular Joe critics, the ones who Marvel would never even bother paying off, went to see this movie. And the score dropped, meaning the regular Joe critics, who Marvel would never even bother paying off, hated the film more than the big name ones who you're claiming they paid off. This is stupid. It's really dumb, and it is... God, Grace Randolph said that Batman vs. Superman was next to perfect, and the only reason why people can't understand how good it is because Marvel has to be paying them. I'm sorry, but I don't even know how to respond to that. Everyone in my store who did like it, who by the way got to go to an early screening where they were also wined and dined, you can clearly see in my own store all the people who went to go to the regular screens were like, this thing is garbage. Like, you guys thought I was rough on it? I was nice compared to a lot of my other coworkers. But there were a couple people at my store who did get to go to the big premiere. They came back like, oh, I thought it was okay. And then when you asked them what did they like, they were like, oh, I got food there. It's like, yeah, man, that's how a lot of these critics operate. They do get wined and dined. But that doesn't mean that they're being paid off to hate something. They might be getting rewarded to like it, but not getting paid off to hate it. This is just, it's destructive is what it is. It really is. Because the comic book community for the longest time has been torn on the debate of Marvel versus DC. It's a dumb debate. You are fully allowed to like both. In fact, it's good to spread out and try some other things. In fact, don't even worry about Marvel and DC. Try some Image, try some Valiant, try some, I was gonna say Dynamite, but Dynamite's got some okay stuff. But yeah, there's tons of great stuff out there from both companies. Even at the worst points of DC's runs, which have been kind of bad recently, there's still some great books out there that they've been putting out. This whole Marvel vs. DC thing has been stupid in the comic book community. And now, when you are actually saying that the reason why people don't like Batman vs. Superman and they like Civil War is because they were getting paid off to do it, you're trying to bring that argument to the movies as well. I don't want to see this continue in comics, and I don't want to see it come to the movies. Let's try and get the whole Marvel is better, DC is better, screw you. Let's try and end that, alright? Let's just look at each book on a book-by-book basis, and then you can also look at the companies, and you can then judge the companies and their practices, because yes, both companies do have different practices, but that doesn't mean that inherently each book or each universe will have negative things. Same goes for the movies. I freaking hated Batman vs. Superman. I hated Man of Steel. I'm still looking forward to Wonder Woman. You know why? Totally different people working on it, even if it's the same studio. So yeah, I kind of got a little bit off what I was asked, but yeah, it's dumb. They're not being paid. If anything, the big name critics are getting equal treatment from both companies because they're both being rewarded for going to the movie early. But as we saw with those Batman vs. Superman reviews that came in early, sure, it might have swayed them to be a little bit more positive, but they were still negative to it. They still didn't like it. And as we saw from all the critics who were not wined and dined, their feelings were basically the same. It's not affecting them that much. They're not buying anything. It's just stupid. And it's all coming from a very small group of people who just are sore losers. I don't want to say that because that implies that we're against each other, that Marvel fans and DC fans are against each other. We're not, but some people do view it that way. And those people who view it that way help to cause that to spread, and it helps convince other people that we should be against each other. And it's wrong. It's just wrong and stupid. I'm moving on now.
Our next question.
How do I come back from that shit?
I don't know. Take a good question.
Okay. Do you think the Fantastic Four are secretly for Phase 4? If it would be great to see Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben on the screen. It absolutely would. It's a shame that we've never ever had a Fantastic Four movie. Ever. I don't remember one.
We never had a Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah. I wish that was true. I wish they were, but Fox hates Marvel. Marvel went to Fox with the same deal that they went to Sony, in which they said, hey, listen, you can keep making these movies. Just work with us. We'll share the profits. And you can have your guys in our movies. And you can get profits off of that. And Fox said no. Fox said no to more profits. Do you know how hard it is for a studio exec to say no to more money? They told Marvel no on that. So yeah, Fox hates Marvel that much. I can't see them even giving the Fantastic Four back. They could eventually do it, just like they did with Daredevil, but it would be one of those things in which we have to wait until the next time in which they are contractually obligated to make another Fantastic Four movie before they even sit down and start having this discussion. Because that's what happened with Daredevil. It hit that point in which it was like, you gotta make another Daredevil movie or else you have to give Daredevil up. And Fox really tried to make another Daredevil movie. They even put out there like a test trailer thing. And when it all just kept flopping and it all just kept failing, that's when they finally went, you know what, screw it, fine, we'll make the deal. So we're gonna have to wait like another 6-7 years before they have to contractually make another one or start working on another one. And that's when we might hear about them coming back to Marvel, but it's gonna be a while. Where was Nick Fury in Civil War? And do you think it's gonna be the final Captain America movie after performing so well at the box office? I do, because I think that Marvel realizes that in order to keep expanding their universe, they can't just make Iron Man 4, Captain America 4, Thor 4. I think they realize they have to eventually give these characters ends. And also, they have to also realize that these aren't the comic book characters who can just be drawn at the exact same age forever and ever and ever. Chris Evans is getting older. Robert Downey Jr. is getting older. All these people are getting older. Eventually, they will have to move on. So I think that, I think this was the final Captain America movie. And as for where was Nick Fury? Doing secret spy shit. Honestly, I think that it's going to be revealed in Infinity War. He was investigating something to do with these gems. I think he's going to get like some crucial piece of information, and that's where he's been spending all this time. For a future film, who do you think should Spider-Man have develop a close friendship of the character with we've seen on the screen? Vision, actually, yeah. No, who am I kidding? Ant-Man. Him and Ant-Man should be pals. And then Iron Man's like, he's gonna be a bad influence on you. And then Ant-Man's like, he's gonna be a bad influence on you. Yeah, okay. In your Captain America versus Iron Man Civil War review, you mentioned all the reasons people are having superhero movie fatigue, and you explained why most of these reasons are wrong. However, you, I think, forgot about how some people, including myself, are having superhero movie fatigue because of the amount of movies that are coming out within the next 4 to 5 years. I was just wondering what your explanation of this could be, how this could be wrong. Honestly, you're not wrong on that one. This year we have 7 superhero movies coming out. Which honestly, when you think about the fact that there's over 100 big screen nationwide debuts that come out every single year, 7's not that much. But when you advertise it and talk about that much, it is kind of a big thing. However, I think that the reason why so many movies coming out over the next couple of years seems like so big and so overwhelming is because so many of them are going to be basically kind of the same. But that's what I'm enjoying about Marvel at this point, is that I feel like Black Panther is going to be completely different from so many of the movies that we've seen before. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I feel like will be another breath of fresh air. As I said, I think the reason why superhero fatigue isn't going to be as much of a thing as people are worried about is because it really only becomes a fatigue if it's all the same. If it's just, oh god, I gotta put up with another one of these. But when you start embracing variety in all of this, then it starts to feel different. It starts to feel refreshing. And I think that, especially after the success of Deadpool, I know I've been kissing the MCU's ass this whole time, but Deadpool did a lot this year for superhero films because it came in and went, we can try some different stuff. So I think that when you eventually keep making them different and different and different to the point in which they no longer even feel like superhero films, I think that that will provide more variety and more breath of fresh air, but also because over the next 4 to 5 years, yeah, we see that list of all those movies coming out. However, we're hitting that point in which some of these companies are going to finally just go, we can't make these anymore. We suck at this. We're bad at this. It's just wasting us money, like Fantastic Four. I think Fox will have learned a lesson from that. And if I almost said Age of Apocalypse, but it's not called that because Marvel came in and screwed them over ahead of time with Age of Ultron. That is some brilliant evil shit, Marvel. But I think that if Apocalypse doesn't perform as well as Fox wants, which when you look at the reviews for it that have been coming out so far, there's a chance that might happen. I think that Fox might even start to go, you know what, we're dropping out. And it's going to just come down to Warner Brothers and Marvel. And as I said, Marvel is creating more variety. So yeah, I mean, Sony's already bowed out. They merged in with Marvel. So I think it is one of those things in which that giant number of movies coming out, I think that's not going to be nearly as big as we all think it is. We're not going to get 7 superhero movies a year. We're going to get back down to like 5, not even 5, but like 4 or 3. So it's not going to be what we are afraid of. We're just going to be overwhelmingly and the same thing constantly. It's going to kind of get to a steady and maintainable variety of films. Let's see. Do you feel a little betrayed, as I feel, for seeing that they told us everyone could be saved in the previous movies, and that everyone would be saved, and that was a little ridiculous, but I believed it, and then seeing that not everyone had been saved in Captain America Civil War? That is a very good question, because that is actually something that I thought about myself. I said this in my Age of Ultron review, that one of the things that I flat out loved about Age of Ultron is that they said they are not leaving that island until every single person is saved. Because I like going to these movies for superheroes. I love going to see it and feel like, yeah, these people can do this stuff. These people are that great. They actually can do this as long as you can make me believe it. And in Age of Ultron, they made me believe it because you saw them actually struggling to achieve that. So yeah, I did kind of have that feeling. Not so much with Manhattan from Avengers 1 or from the giant ships falling down in Winter Soldier. But when they were mentioning Sokovia, I was like, no, that was the entire point. They saved everyone. And if you're going to come in here and tell me that they didn't do that, that is a betrayal of that film. However, then when you see the shots of it falling, you realize those shots are coming from the ocean down below, where a lot of these people are sitting, where they escaped to. And I was like, oh shoot, I hadn't even thought of that. And that's what makes it not feel like a betrayal to me, is that they didn't say that the Avengers didn't save everyone on the island. They introduced something to me that I had not even thought of, and the entire point of this film was that the Avengers didn't think about it either. That's why the people were angry at them. It's that, you guys, yeah, you saved everyone up there, but then you didn't even stop to like think about where you put them. And I was like, dude, I didn't do that either. So that's why it didn't feel like a betrayal to me, is because, yeah, I was in the same boat as the Avengers. When they were sitting there watching that footage, I was like, oh, dang. Man. Plus, in a weird way, I feel like this film is a metaphor for superhero films in general, in that so many of them have very similar endings. So many of them have those very similar endings where they're trying to save people as everything is blowing up in the air, and then it all comes falling down. And this film was the one that came in and said, yeah, it's time that we finally realize we've done that enough. It's time to move on to some different stuff. And I think that by coming in there and saying, well, here's the problems with those endings, it kind of did say, yeah, it's time that we move on to something different, to a different way to end our films than just there's a giant explosion in the air. So yeah, I fully understand feeling betrayed, because I kind of felt that way as well, but I think it worked. In fact, I kind of think it added to this film. Because the entire point of this movie was to kind of come in and go, yeah, no, here's what actually happened. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is. So yeah, I can understand both sides of that argument. Thank you for doing this again. You're welcome. This is a fear I have with the Marvel Cinematic Universe alone. People think the villains are weak, sans Loki, but I think the romances between the official couples are weak as well. I like Tony and Pepper and Hawkeye and his wife, but that's about it. One thing spoiled to me was that Cap finds love. From what I heard, they either have no chemistry or it was rushed. I know romance isn't the main focus of the MCU, but if these heroes are gonna have relationships, I want them to feel believable. However, still make sure the action and characters take precedence. Okay, so that wasn't a question, they were just saying that it's like, yeah, I feel the exact same way.
Yep.
What relationships did I like? I did like Hawkeye and his wife. Tony and Pepper I thought were alright. I thought it could have been better, but I think a lot of that was Gwyneth Paltrow was just a bad choice for Pepper Potts. I don't think that she had really, this is gonna sound weird, but I think that Aunt May and Tony had more chemistry in that one little moment than him and Pepper had in any of the films. So yeah, who else? Actually, this is gonna sound weird because I really did not like Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, but when she was on screen with Chris Hemsworth, it was like, there's something there. Like, I could feel a little bit of chemistry there. But yeah, I do agree with you that the love interest in these are weak. I agree with you. But I think a lot of that is because they feel like they have to have one in there. Whereas, like, for most of these films, it's not necessary. I am interested in seeing what they do with Spider-Man, though. Because Spider-Man is a love story. Spider-Man has always been a love story. From the moment that he got to college, it was a love story. And even before then, he had relationships with people. But, like, in college, that's when it became Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane, these characters love each other, what's going to happen, Harry loves Mary Jane as well, Flash loves this other character, now Liz Allen comes into the picture. It's like, Spidey is the biggest soap opera of any comic book character, aside from the X-Men. But, yeah, Spidey is about the love interest, so I think that's going to be the big real test for this. Because in all those other ones, the love interest, it wasn't important to the rest of the film. In Spider-Man, yeah, the love interest is important. So, I think that's going to be the big test. Do you think Zemo will return in future movies and form the Masters of Evil? I hope so. In fact, someone pointed out something to me that I hadn't even thought of. What were the names of the 5 Winter Soldiers that he found and killed? I don't know. But I would love to go back there and like freeze frame and see if like each of them have like a name written on their little tubes. Because I would love it if it was revealed that it was like Abner Jenkins, Christoph Soffen, like basically the names of the Thunderbolts. And that was like a little wink and nod to them. I would still love to get the official Thunderbolts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But even still, like that little wink and nod I think would be cool. Like, yeah, I would love to see him come back and form like a team. Let's see. Let me see if I can find one more really good one. Jeez, there's a lot of them. You guys had some questions on this one. Random nerd. Okay, 2 questions. How do you think Black Panther got his superhuman abilities, such as to run fast or faster than cars on the highway? In the comics, it's from the heart-shaped herb. It's an herb that grows in Wakanda. Only the people who have passed the challenge can eat it, and basically, it turns them into super soldiers. It gives them enhanced skills, enhanced senses. So I'm assuming it's going to be something like that in the movie. There's no reason I can imagine why it wouldn't be. They might try and tie it into the super soldier serum in a weird way to try and like blend this whole universe together. Because I could see them coming in and saying it's like, oh yeah, part of the super soldier serum came from this herb, and that's why you're so strong. And 2, do you think that the son of the villain we got in the movie will make an appearance in the MCU as the real purple-masked, leopard fur-wearing Baron Zemo, since in the comics, the Zemo we got is the father of the real Zemo? Really like your channel, stay awesome. Thank you. That's a good question. I think, yeah, because the Baron Zemo who like formed the Masters of Evil and all that, he was the son of the original Baron Zemo, and he's basically saying that the Baron Zemo we got in this movie was that father one. I think that he's too young to have a son who would be the appropriate age for that villain. However, I was thinking of something really cool that I think they could do, because in the comics, Baron Zemo has this big purple ski mask thing he wears. I know that a lot of like special ops guys also wear ski masks. Like those kind of like black, like heavy ski mask. And they mentioned in here that he was basically Sokovian special ops. Something I was thinking about is that his entire purpose in here was to come in and be of the voice of Sokovia. He was here to come in and go like, listen guys, you helped destroy my country. I mean, I know it was Ultron, but I mean, you guys didn't even stop to try and like save my family. You didn't stop to help those people on the ground when the island collapsed. Like, you are to blame for a lot of this. And as he made his argument, I honestly was listening to that like, if I was Sokovian, I would be walking around with a Baron Zemo t-shirt on right now. I was like, I would be listening to that dude like, that dude speaks for us. I could see a lot of like people from Sokovia in future films saying like, yeah, I'm on the side of Zemo. Zemo speaks for me, and they're wearing like the ski mask that like the special ops guys wear, but they come in and say something like, and they dyed their ski mask purple because it's the official color of the Sokovian national flag or something like that. And I was like, that would be an awesome way to fit Baron Zemo's ski mask, like purple ski mask, into the film. I know it's a weird thing, but like that would be like an actual answer for why he's wearing that weird goofy ass purple ski mask. Okay, final question here. Better be a good one, man. Okay, all comes down to you. So just a quick question, in the upcoming Spider-Man Homecoming, who do you think that they're most likely to use as Peter's love interest? Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane? That being if they actually decide to give Spider-Man a love interest for his first film. I think they will, because as I said, it's a love story. I think it's probably going to be Mary Jane. And I'm saying that because they have already cast an actress and they did not say who she was. In fact, she's even a woman of color, so it's one of those things where it's like, it's definitely, like, she doesn't look like either Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane. But they didn't say who she is, so I'm like, okay, they're clearly trying to hide it, which makes me think that it is going to be either Gwen Stacy or Mary Jane. Like, they're casting her as a love interest, I think, as one of those two. She strikes me more as a Mary Jane, from what I saw of her. I don't know who she is, but just from, like, the one piece of promo image, I was like, she seems more Mary Jane-ish. So I could see Mary Jane. Although I would love to see them do this. If they do go with Gwen Stacy, we all know that Gwen Stacy dies, that Green Goblin kills her. However, currently in the comics, there is an alternate reality where Gwen Stacy is the one who got bit by the radioactive spider, and she became Spider-Gwen. She's super popular right now. People love that character. Also, in the last Sony film, which people did not love, we did see Gwen Stacy die. So even the vast audiences out there who are not familiar with comics know that's what happens to Gwen Stacy. I would absolutely love it, and I would be totally fine with Marvel doing this if they introduce Gwen Stacy, they set her up in the first film, then in the second film, the Green Goblin comes in, looks like he kills her, but instead she's just put in like this coma, like she is just unresponsive, and Pete thinks, my blood has the power to heal me. I know that it does. Like, I don't have like Wolverine healing factor, but like, it does make me stronger. Maybe there's a way I can synthesize this to help wake her up, to help make her strong enough to wake back up He figures out something, gives her like an injection, and then she wakes up and she's now got spider powers, and we have Spider-Gwen join the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just to be a total like, and you might be thinking like, oh, but that would screw up all this stuff. Audiences already know Gwen Stacy dies. Even the vast audiences out there. This would totally shock everyone. Everyone. Because audience would be sitting there like, oh god, we have to watch her die again. Oh, well, what? She's a superhero now? Like, I think that'd be a huge shock to people. I think it'd be awesome. So yeah, and you have another question. Now on to something fun. Do you think Captain Falcon and Samus would be good equivalents of Captain America and Iron Man? Yes. Here's one you can work with. Okay, Smash Bros. The whole Smash Bros roster. Who's the leader of each side? Like, who is the Captain America equivalent? Like, I'm assuming Captain Falcon. Who else do we have in there? Let's see. Although I could see Mario as Cap and Luigi as the Winter Soldier, with Princess Peach as Peggy Carter. Let's see, who else? Okay, we can do this. We can get them all.
Bowser should be Hulk because they're both big and green and angry.
I'm cool with that. Who would be Hawkeye? Like, not Link, because Link's too stern. Toon Link. Toon Link is Hawkeye. Okay. This is fun. Okay. Zero Suit Samus. No, wait. Wii Fit Trainer is Black Widow.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we can do it. Who else do we have? Ant-Man. Who would be Ant-Man? Oh god, there's nobody who's like the jokey one. Mr. Game & Watch? Mm-hmm. No, that's not quite right. He's Vision. Mr. Game & Watch is Vision. Okay. Who else do we have? We have Ant-Man, we have Spider-Man, we have Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, I think that's it. No, Rhodey. We got Rhodey. And then Iron Man too, but okay, so we recast Cap as Mario. Who is the new Iron Man? Do we stick with Samus?
Well, they both have the suits.
They do have the suits. It'd be hard to argue against that suit. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with Samus, sticking with that as Iron Man. Okay, let's see. Black Panther. Who's Black Panther? Okay. Oh, Black Panther is Sheik. Oh. I mean, granted, gender is swapped, but it's like, heck yeah, a royal figure who then dresses up in a costume to go around sneaking like a ninja? Yeah, it's Sheik. Okay, alright,
And we agree that Bowser would be Hulk.
Yeah, okay, we're good with that one. I'm totally down with that one. Yeah, they're both big and green. It's hard to argue that. I could see... Who else? Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is Zelda, honestly. It's like, that feels weird, though, to have Zelda and Sheik. But then again, the game did it. Okay, we almost got them all. Okay. Honestly, I could see Captain Falcon as Thor, because they both have a massive punch.
I was like, this is like going out on a limb, but like King Dedede, because they both have the hammer.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Actually, when you think about that, okay, so if we make Scarlet Witch Zelda, Lucario as Black Panther, and then I'm looking at our amiibo collection up there, by the way. Sonic is Ant-Man, because they both have attitude. No, Ant-Man's too nerdy. Ant-Man would be Mega Man, I guess. Ant-Man's not... Oh, shoot, okay. We have to wrap this up. We can't do them all.
Yeah, it's like, maybe this will be in a completely different episode.
This is the question I want you guys to answer in the comments down below.
Yes.
If the Smash Bros were told that they had to register with Nintendo in order to go out there and continue to be in their own games, who would sign on the anti-registration side? Who would sign on the pro-registration side? Oh my god, this is the nerdiest goddamn question we've ever had. But I'm happy about it. I'm giving you credit. I'm saying your name. Bladezer 3000. Thank you for that question. I love goofy, weird stuff like that. I love goofy, geek questions. Alright, thank you very much, everybody. If you like this episode, then make sure that you subscribe, although you probably already have, because this is the Q&A session. That is only for the subscribers. But also make sure that you check out some of my other videos. I will leave at the end of this links to the Batman vs. Superman Q&A, I'm sorry if I'm sounding really weird right now, but I'm tired. We just ate, so we're lazy. I'm trying to be quiet so I don't wake anyone up. But I thank you guys for sticking through with this. This was a mess of an episode, but I don't care. It was a fun mess. It turned into a fun mess. And I had so much fun with this that I'm going to continue doing the Q&As. Once a month, we're going to do Q&As, and I'm going to stick to it, which is something that I have a problem with. I'll admit there are a lot of things that I've said, I'm going to do this once a month. This one's easy to do, and it's fun. So I'm going to definitely do a Q&A every single month. We're going to do one at the end of this month for X-Men Apocalypse, so make sure that you stick around for that. But I thank you guys for checking this out. Make sure that you come back next time. Bye.
Bye.